Are we live? We are live. It shows when you use StreamYard, which is our platform, it shows a big thing that says, you are live. Jazz hands. It's my phone and jazz hands and my pen. So how are we? What's going on? What's happening? What's happening? Hot stuff? Sorry. I'm quoting movies. Oh, goodness. You probably don't even know what movie that is. Do you? What's happening? Hot stuff? Okay, sorry. Off to a rip-roaring start. So we have a masterclass today. So that's why I'm a little bit like today, because I get so ridiculously excited. I'm like a dog, which is a good thing, right? Right? I think it is. And I get really excited because we have a masterclass today at 4. So I'm going to make this brief. I'm going to try not to ramble on because we need to prep ourselves. We have a masterclass at 4, and I like to kind of take a moment, and I always like have a routine that I go through. Someday we'll show you the whole routine. Is that Doug? Doug knows what that's from. What's happening? Hot stuff? I should know that you would know. That's so great. Oh, I just love that. And that movie, nowadays that movie has so many things that are like so wrong. But at the time, in its time period, it was funny because we were stupid, basically. But okay. So I get excited on Masterclass Day, and we have one at 4. And so we're going to pop into here. We're going to talk a little bit about money. So how much time do we have? So yesterday was about time. Today we're going to have race through talking about money. Wait, what? So if you were here yesterday, if not, scroll on down the page because it's in here. So, or on here, depending on where you're watching this. It's we're so fancy. We're on the page in the group and on YouTube. So yeah, check her out. So we talked about, hello, Joy. We have the masterclass open right now. So if you're not familiar with Hollywood Gatekeepers, I think you are because you're here. But if for some reason you're like, and you just like, oh, what's this? I just stepped into your world. What's this? What's this? What's this? So those are all the different people. Sorry, welcome to my brain. So, and you're like, oh, let's take a look-see. Anyway, we have several ways that we do trainings. We do them in here. Well, I say in here because in my head, I'm in the Facebook group, but we're also on YouTube, and we do free trainings on our page. We're going to hop on over to Instagram as soon as we're done here. We do free trainings. So in all of those places, the group, YouTube channel, we also have a podcast, and then we do every great once in a while, we do a masterclass. And in the masterclass, that's where we really, seriously, we dive really deep. I actually managed to hone in for an hour and focus on what it is to be a reader. And we give you a ton of information. We give you like handouts, and we like, here is what it is. All the questions that you see in this group, we really do. We dive in, we answer those, we take about an hour, and then we stay as long as it takes to answer any other questions, which is typically 15 minutes to half an hour to answer other random questions. But we thought we would also, well, and then during that time period, when we're doing the masterclass, which we do every once in a while, we open enrollment into a paid course that we have. So you're welcome to take that and learn that way as well. So we have all these different ways that you can learn, right? You can stay in the Facebook group, learn for free. You can come in if you're really serious, this is what you want to do. Come in. We have a couple different options within the course. We have coaching. We have all kinds of things that you can choose the path for you. Whatever works for you. So while we're doing these master classes, we have an open enrollment period into the course. We only open the course up during these enrollment periods because when we're not having the master class, we really want to focus on our students that are in the paid course. So we still do the free trainings in here every week, and we still do a lot of other things. And we have additional trainings. Just randomly, we'll decide to do one, like we are doing one on leap year about money. We're going to take the topic that we're talking about today and really dive in for a couple of hours about money. So that's going to be on leap year, and we'll tell you all about that after the whole masterclass thing is over, because we want to focus. So while we're doing the masterclass and enrollment is open, we thought we would do some extra Q&As here in the Facebook group and on the Facebook page and YouTube and on Instagram. So we're answering questions that we get a lot each day at 3, we're just taking a few minutes, 10, 15 minutes to answer a question. And so today it's about money. So yesterday we talked a little bit about time and we gave you some homework. And tomorrow during our regularly scheduled session, that's hard to say, we do that at 5 p.m. every single week on Wednesdays. We're going to combine the two soul sisters that go together, which is time and money. Those are the things that trip us up the most, in my opinion. Time, well, the thing that trips us up the most, really, in my opinion, is our brain, our little monkey brain. But we use time and money as our excuse for not doing things. So those are the two that go together. So yesterday we talked about tracking your time. So I bet you can guess. Well, just scroll on down the page. If you missed it yesterday, it's still here. You can scroll down the page, or you can look in YouTube, or you can scroll down the Facebook group and you'll see yesterday's. And so we talked, and you'll see it. Did I have it? I don't know that I did a little, I don't think I did. I think it just went live in it just, usually it has a little graphic. I can do it. So truth bomb, exactly, right? So yeah, those two things go together. So yesterday I asked you to track your time. So I bet you can guess what I'm going to ask you to do today. Yes, I am. Yes, let's be real. I just did a mastermind with Mel Abrams, who's amazing. And he said, if you are afraid to look at your bank account, that's telling the universe or projecting the message that you aren't ready to handle money. So if you are one of those people, and I've been there, you know what that's like, where you're like, oh, I don't want to look at the numbers. Wait, what? I totally did. That was what you called classic double take. Where you look away and then you look back, and you know who's the king of double takes? Okay, for you guys who've been around here for a while, who's the king of double takes? Okay, I say it all the time. He's so good at it. He does it in every movie that he does. He does it. And I'll tell you in a moment who that is. Anywho, so I took this masterclass, or this, masterclass kind of thing. And he was saying, for those of you who are afraid to look at your numbers, it's like, you need to dive in there and not be afraid, because the more that you're not afraid and the more you kind of look it, then it's just makes it all easier. So nice. But at least you know that you're minus 892. That's honestly, I mean, I'm kind of joking, but I'm not, though. It's really good. I don't know. It says Facebook user, so I'm not sure who that is, but on my end. So, but it is really good to know, because you can't not, it's just a number. And going back to the model that we do all the time, right, is Brooke Castillo's model, is that it's just a circumstance. It's what you make it mean that matters. So if that's a number and then you think, oh, I'm, whatever, you put some kind of worth on there, your own self-worth. I mean, we all put a number, like we know what that number means, but what does it mean to you emotionally? If you put some other thing on top of that, it's just information. So then you've got this information and okay, if you're minus 892, then you need to earn 892 in order to get up to 0, which is fine. It's better than being at negative 892, but it's just a number, and it's just information. And the more that we can separate our own drama from it, and she says more math, less drama, which I absolutely love that saying, right? Where you just kind of, and she works with an accountant, and she has a podcast, the Life Coach School, and she has a podcast about this, which she does with her CFO, where they talk about where he's a guy who's just all about numbers, and he's sort of amazed at how much people come in with all this angst about where their business is at. Even if it's doing well, people get angsty about, oh no, now it's going to go south and I'm going to lose it. Like a lot of times you think that having more money is going to be the thing that's going to make it easier. Not necessarily. What do they say? New level, different devil. Like it can be that it just adds anxiety because now you're afraid you're going to lose it. Like it's all in how we look at it. It doesn't even matter what that number is. And so he's been like, what's with all the drama? It's just a number. So this means we need to do this, or it's just part of a guidance system as to what your next step might be, as opposed to making it mean anything beyond that. And I absolutely love this. And the other person, so today for our money thing, if you want to know what your money mindset is, just look in your bank account. So you want to be able to open yourself up to receiving and to, and I'm not one of those, I mean, it is kind of woo-woo, but it's not like I think if you just sit, it's going to be like, oh, and then a Ferrari is going to land in your garage. But what will happen is the more that you release yourself from that place of making it mean something, the more you'll be able to take action that is in a good direction. So if you're coming from a place of angst and anxiety, you're going to take steps that aren't necessarily as good as when you take a step from a place of trust and relaxation and that kind of thing. And that's the goal. That's what we're all working towards. You and me both. Now I'm double taking the other way. What? Who's the double take king? Come on. Come on. I haven't said it for a while, so maybe you don't know. So yeah, so loving, yeah, money for me is a peaceful way to living, right? Paying debt and feeling free. I'll translate. So, and it is this feeling of like, if you feel like if you open up your mailbox and you've got bills and you're like, oh, I got bills, like, be grateful that you have a bill for the, whatever electricity in your home. If we're here right now, life is spectacular that we're able to take our time to do this. So, we're going to really dive into this on the 29th. And so I think right now, I'd just like to give you some resources. So if you're feeling like there's so many people out there that do this so well, that talk about money mindset and talk about what to do. Brooke Castillo, of course, she's always on the top of my list. She made $26 million with her business last year, and she considers herself an under earner because she wants to make $100 million, which I love. And to her, it's not that it's a game, but it is kind of a game. It's taking out, okay, I'm going to sneeze. Just so you know, nothing like live. Okay, that was fake. So anyway, because she sees it as, she's taken sort of the angst out of it, and she sees it, the beautiful thing about setting a goal like that is it sort of forces you to become something different, to step into something new. And I absolutely love that. Like, it's so inspiring to me to think, what's possible? Like, anything's possible. Like, what's possible, and what do I need to step into to make that happen? And it just becomes, bless you, and ahead of time, thank you. Didn't happen, which is worse in a way, but not on live, not here. Once the camera's off, then yeah, woo. But being able to kind of step into that, what would it mean? So Brooke Castillo, James Wedmore is another one. He has a podcast called Mind Your Business Podcast. She has Life Coach School. Those are Life Coach School. I've noticed that SC suddenly, well, that actually does have an H, but we say screen reader, and we're going to have a strategy to read our screenplay. Have you noticed that? That's a new thing that's a new thing in our vernacular, especially in California. We put an H into SC. Sorry. Anyway, so those are two really good ones. And I'm actually in James Wedmore's Mastering Your Money to learn some of the things. He's so spectacular at mindset stuff. And so Mind Your Business is all about your mind and making your business and how to change your life in that way. And so those are really good resources. A couple of books that you should read as well. And I'll put these in the chat later. One is The Abundance Code by Julianne Carnes. Jaw-dropping book. And what she has done is she has an amazing story, first of all, and I have a very similar story to her and my family. So maybe that's why I relate to her so much. But then what she does is she talks about how we each have our own sort of money mindset code. And she talks about, she's studied this, she has a degree, because she was not going to be like her parents who went through bankruptcy. And so she studied, she went in and studied money and became this financial person. And then she started to follow the same patterns as her parents and started to go, wait a minute, I know this. So why is this happening? And then she became a financial advisor and noticed that two people would make the same exact investment and it would go in different directions. And so she's like, what is that? And so so her book is just amazing. She pulled that apart and realized that we all kind of fit in these different categories. And so it's really interesting. I'd be so curious for you guys to read it and then come back and tell me what your category is. That should be, so if you're going to join us on the 29th for our money mindset thing, that's your homework ahead of time. I'd love to know what your category is. So that's a really great book, Abundance Code by Julianne Carnes. There's also Dollars Flow to Me Easily. That's a short little book, really interesting book. And then there's, she's just crushing it with You're a Badass at Making Money, Jen Cisnero. And she's she's making it with both of her badass books. So yeah, such an interesting story, right? Thank you, Joy, for putting in the podcast names as I rip them out here. And then there's a new book that's just come out. His name is Kyle Cease. And of course, the name of the book, you'd think as a reader, but I'm really terrible with titles. Names and faces, I'm pretty good. Titles? Maybe it's because they never stick with screenplays. So I'm looking up the title of his book. I just read this life-changing book, The Illusion of Money, Kyle Cease, Cease. Cease. Kyle Cease, The Illusion of Money. I did audiobooks. I just did this. I'm going to do it again because he gives you some really good exercises, but he's funny. He's a comedian. He was a stand-up comedian, and then he realized he was inspiring people with some of his money stuff. And so he started to really dive into money and mindset and that kind of thing. But book is hilarious, and it just came out in December. Really, really highly recommend that one. And then there's some programs out there. Eben Pagan has a good, of course, Self-Made Wealth and Money Mindset course. He has both of those. These are all just resources. There's so many resources out there, but there's Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which is kind of a staple that a lot of people read. That and Napoleon Hill's, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. Those are kind of staples that every entrepreneur I know has read those two books. But, Tony Robbins, of course, has Master the Money Game. So these are all, as you can see, I've been diving into this myself. And so mostly because I want to find as many resources as I can to give to you, because I think this stuff is so fascinating. And Brooke Castile by far is my favorite in terms of how she approaches it. And because she also, all of these people came and built their wealth. So so it's really interesting. They all came, that's like they all figured this out, which makes the game more interesting, makes it, that they figured it out means that you can figure it out, right? I mean, if they can figure it out, you were smart, you were creative, or you wouldn't be here right now. So let's dive in and figure it out with them. So that's my homework for you for this one, is to track your money, just like, so you have both men. So there's just more to it. So I don't know who that is that's saying you have both books but haven't made a red cent. Why? So there's just more work to be done. And I really think that it's really deep and it's really fascinating. And we really are going to dive into this deep. But I really feel that if you're living your life from a place of I can't afford it, that Eben Pagan talks about, rather than saying I can't afford it, saying what can I afford, ask yourself, what can I create? And I love that little shift where instead of being like, oh, what can I afford that? What can I buy with this? Like a little kid, being like, what can I create that will get me there? And James Wedmore talks about how he lives his life from a place of never letting money be the thing that stops him. And so, of course, it takes a while for him to get there. But he didn't start there. So it's like, if he can start at a place where he's not making a red cent and get to the place where he's making millions of dollars by doing this kind of work, there's just I think it takes a while. It's very, you have to really kind of continue. It's a real test of persistence. Persistence really is the key to anything, learning anything, doing anything, is being persistent and continuing to figure out, if I'm not there yet, what's stopping me? What is the block? What's going on? And Brooke Castile says her goal is 100 million. She goes, I obviously don't believe I can make 100 million or I'd be making it. So even her at making 26 million a year is trying to figure that out. It's just nonstop, right? So even the term red cent to me is a little bit of a telling term, right? Of looking at money as a red cent. Like there's just, if whatever you resist persists. So if you're looking at it like that, like it's just this ability to start kind of letting that go. And so, like I said, we're going to dive more into this, but I just wanted to kind of give you some resources, get you thinking down that path. These little one-offs that we're doing right now are just sort of kind of give you a little pump in the right direction, kind of get you going, get you start thinking in that way, getting you start listening to some of these podcasts, keep reading whatever books you have. I'm not sure which books you're referring to. Get the next one, read them again. Every time you read it, it's going to come to you in a different way. Write about what's coming up for you right now. Write about it. You're writers. You have that secret weapon of being able to write. Write about it. See what's coming up for you. And then that'll get you to the next step, and that'll get you to the next step. And everything that you uncover will get you closer to where you want to be. I really sincerely believe that. And this is what does this have to do with reading, right? But it does, because if we're getting people that are coming in and saying, oh, I just want to do this so bad, but I can't afford it, then there's some work to be done there, because I'd love to see all of us to be doing everything that we want to do and not having that be the thing that stops us. So exactly. Gentle push. Hey, Doug, that's you, right? What's happening, hot stuff? So that's a quote, just FYI. So, hey, Adelaide, Is that right, Adelaida? You have the best name ever, Adelaida Nunez. That's so cool. So, is it you that wrote the red cent comment? So we'll be talking about this more as we, for those of you who are joining the Insider Track, this is the kind of thing that we do every single week. And so, and then also we'll be giving you links to join us in the big thing on the 29th. But in the meantime, we wanted to just give you a gentle push. And then tomorrow, at our usual 5 o'clock session, we're going to dive into both time and money a little bit more. There'll be a handout because I like handouts. I do like handouts. 16 candles, right? So I do like handouts because I think there's something to actually writing it down, taking a pen and writing. I think there's something cathartic about that. That's why we give so many handouts in Hollywood Gatekeepers. So that's it for today for this particular masterclass little pop in, pop out. I'm going to jump on over to Facebook to Instagram in 10 minutes and do this again. And who knows, sometimes different things pop up depending on what people comment on or say. So if you want to join us over there, feel free. We also have a masterclass today at 4. If you've not taken the masterclass, highly suggest that you jump on in there. We have another one at noon tomorrow. And there's a rumor that we might add. I'll keep you posted on that. All right, you guys are awesome, right? Handouts are awesome. Who doesn't love a good handout? Me and Amy Porterfield. She's the handout queen. I learned the best from her. She's awesome. That's another resource if you ever want to start an online business. Amy Porterfield is your girl. So there you have it. I hope these resources help you. And again, I'll once we're off, I'll jot them down in the chat. So because I can't type and talk at the same time. Multitasking, it's not good. So I will see you if you're coming to the masterclass, and I'll see you there. Yay! Come on in there and we'll talk about our screen reader program. We'll talk about all of the things that you need to be a reader, whether you do it with us or not. It's totally up to you. And we'll just keep going. Keep on keeping on. Track your money, track your time. Don't be afraid to look at it all. That's the step in making anything that you want happen. That's what I firmly believe. All right, you guys, we will see you either at 4, either over on Instagram, maybe tomorrow at noon at the next masterclass, or at 3 when we come in here, or at 5. I'm so sick of us. Yay. We'll see you then. Thanks, you guys. Cracking myself up.